Well, the hits just keep on coming. I'm really excited that we are with Danette Wolpert. She's a dear friend. Of course, you remember her from all the shows that we did with the Illuminate Film Festival. She was the executive director of that festival for many, many, many years. And now she is very involved in the Holomovement. And so, Rev Deb, I'm going to turn it over to you to give your sharing about Danette. And then she has a lot to share with us tonight.
Well, first of all, I want to reintroduce her as Danette Wolpert Holman, as we had the pleasure of meeting her husband, Drew Holman, in Ibiza. And he had a medical episode months ago. So many of us were on the team praying for his recovery. And when we saw him in Ibiza, it was so thrilling to know that our prayers had worked and that he was feeling better, and he was there with his camera helping capture the magic of the Holomovement wave in Ibiza. So Danette, congratulations on marrying him. and going through this enormous challenge in the very early days of your marriage and having a rainbow ending. So that was really very special to have both you and Drew with us in Ibiza. So Danette, you are on the core team of the Holomovement. Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit what your special role is.
Well, my contribution is in the way of visibility, which is essentially the challenge of sharing the Holomovement with as many people as possible, starting with early adopters, of course, which is our precious community, who are very well sort of prepared, right, for the merging of science and spirituality, and for unity in action, because this is something that is not new to our community, but it is most certainly through the Holomovement being approached in a whole new way. And very soon we will be inviting many, many more communities and mainstream communities and all kinds of different industries, sectors, racial communities, all of the above. We're going to be reaching out and inviting them to participate in the Holomovement.
Well, that's very exciting. You have a big job ahead of you. But you mentioned the early adopters, and those are the ones who are listening to us right now. So maybe you can give us a window into what can people do who want to be involved, who know in their hearts that they are already part of the Holomovement, and they would like to formalize that by signing up. So please let us know, what are the ways to do that?
Well, I'd love to. In fact, I do have a short presentation that I gave at the Holomovement Wave, and I think that would maybe be a good start for all of you out there.
Go for it.
Okay. All right, great. Let me share my screen. All right, can you see that?
Yes, we do. Perfect.
Okay, great. All right, potential Holomovers out there. This is really all about how to come together and align. All of us are already a part of something that is truly manifesting a better world. And so how is the Holomovement attempting to sort of bring us all together in alignment? So we start with an official definition of the Holomovement, which is a worldwide social movement that awakens us to our interconnectedness, igniting a critical mass of inspired collaborative action that serves the good of the whole. So we, as a team, Also defined our vision, our purpose, and our core values. And you'll see in our core values that we've got joyful service for the good of the whole. And really that is the center of the movement. And of course, compassionate purpose, which you heard about today from Zenka. Unitive consciousness, which is of course at the root of all that we are doing. Radical collaboration, which is the how, and transformative action, which is if we really accomplish that at critical mass, we will see a movement that tips, so to speak. So this is something that may help everybody truly understand what's at the heart of the movement and what is also the critical path. So if I want to be a part of the movement, what am I doing? So our call to action is see the whole, play your role, co-create with soul. What does that mean exactly? So see the whole. When we see the world, do we see that it is a single, living, dynamic superorganism? And each of us plays an interconnected part of that big whole. Play your role within that superorganism. For example, like the human body, we have the heart playing a role, and we have the liver playing a role, and we have the brain playing a role. So within this superorganism, what is your role? And how does it help the whole function? Just like if the heart has a role to play, it does have to work with the brain and the liver and the gallbladder and the intestines. So, but it's really, right, essential that we each find our own unique role to offer, whereby we can offer our gifts. And then, of course, is co-create with soul, because this is the key to amplification, right? So we co-create with others, we collaborate, and we do it with soul. And we use the word soul in two ways. One, of course, is so that we are doing this with heart. And the other is really that we are co-creating with the divine. Because everything should be informed, right, from the divine as we go, and we sense and respond, and we get deeply in tune with our mission as we go forward, and we get deeply guided by the divine. So that is our call to action. Okay, so how do you all plug in? So at the moment, we have 4 ways to engage, and this is going to change. It's going to be in flow. So I might come on this show 2 months from now, and maybe there's 6 ways to engage. And so we are really just, it's all unfolding so beautifully. And all of the great ideas that were captured at the wave will all be, kind of considered and put in motion. And so there may be many, many on-ramps, into this movement. And I think at some point, someday, really, people will determine what their own on-ramps are, and they'll be creating the movement in their own lives. So let's start here. The first is simply to say, I am the Holomovement, and know what that means. So what we do have is on our website is a declaration of solidarity, which essentially means I believe in the principles of the Holomovement, and I am committing to see the whole, play my role, and co-create with soul. And in this way, really the possibilities are endless in terms of how you want to embody the Holomovement or are already. So our community, really so many of us are already in alignment with this, that really a declaration of solidarity honestly just builds the movement because it's a self-identifier. Then we have something a little kind of deeper in terms of involvement, which is to join the Holon community on Hilo. So Scott, you've heard of Hilo, I assume?
Yeah, and I am part of the Hilo. I get the emails every day. I'm doing the Hilo thing.
Doing the Hilo thing. And Deborah, I suspect you too.
Me too.
So Hilo is a platform for planetary well-being, and it's specifically been designed for collaboration. So now this was not designed by anybody on the team per se, but the whole point of the Holomovement is really to have those that are doing something that are really good at what they do kind of come in and offer their genius. And so the folks at Hilo have offered their genius in the way of this platform, and it's going to allow us all to collaborate in a really unique way. Now, this slide may be a little overwhelming for some folks. It is in tech geek language, or what Jeff Barrett calls nerdish. But this is sort of an overall summary of the major functionality on Hilo. So by holonic architecture, it just means that everybody has, sort of its, there we go. That sort of has its own holon. A little circle represents your holon, and a holon is a group of 3 or more people that are dedicated to a cause. So if you get together with 2 of your neighbors and you decide to run a community garden in your neighborhood, you can be a holon. If you already have a major network, like Reverend, Deborah has, the ELs, the evolutionary leaders, that's an incredibly powerful network, right? So it could be as small as 3 people, or it could also be as large as 3,000 people who are already part of a group or a network. Unified conversations, so you can really create posts that are for very specific groups. You can, create a post that goes to everybody. You can create a post that only goes to people that are aligned with regenerative farming, or self-healing, or whatever that might be. You could have conversations around certain topics. And place-based tools out there on the end is a geographic map. So you could see where all of the other holons are, and you could also check what's in your neighborhood, what's in your city, or you're traveling and you're in Dubai. Well, what's over here that has to do with self-healing, and can I connect with those folks here? So this platform is all about deepening relationships and building trust. So it's very different from your existing social media platforms. I mean, how many of us want to go onto Facebook and just offer everything we have, right? It just doesn't feel like a very safe place to do that. But when a community has been built specifically around trust, we feel more able to give. We feel more able to offer without necessarily demanding something in return. And so that's what Hilo is really all about, is we give first, and we know that giving is going to support the whole. And then at some point, when that whole benefits, we benefit. And it's also a circle of trust in that, good things all come around. So that's what we are building on Hilo. And as you can see here, the Holomovement is just one of many communities already using Hilo. So all of our holons are in our network map, but then we also have Pro-Social and their whole map of organizations and individuals, and several others here, Open Team, Planetary Health Alliance. And these are just some examples, because not only will we be able to connect with others inside the Holomovement, we'll be able to connect with lots of organizations and people and groups that are outside of the Holomovement as well. It's part of a global network. So I just wanted to give you a little bit, of an inside scoop. I've put some screenshots in here so people can actually see what the platform looks like. So you'll see here on the left is the big menu of everything that you can do once you're in there. And right now, the middle is just, this is just a the main section in the Holons hub where folks are just posting to the group at large. This here is a network map. So you could find yourself, let's say I'm the Sedona Yoga Festival, here I am, right, on that map connected to all of these other Holons. And when you decide you want to go ahead and post, and you can post as an individual, or you could post on behalf of your Holon or your group, but you can start a discussion. You can request something. Oh, I need 30 volunteers for my event on Thursday. Or you can say, hey, we're looking for practitioners, to do X, Y, Z. Or I need help with a press release, or, really anything. An offer, of course, is anything that you could offer at this moment. A resource is maybe something that you have that would benefit folks. You have a whole toolkit on I don't know, give me an example of a toolkit that we might be offering.
Social media.
Sure.
Right. How to increase your impact through social media.
Let's say that somebody already is has a gift in that area, and they have a database of information, or a PDF guide, or whatever it might be that they have that everybody else would benefit from.
Right. Or like a guide to regenerative agriculture.
Exactly. I mean, here at Illuminate, even a resource. What are the top 10 conscious films of all time, according to Illuminate, right? Just all of us have so many gifts to offer in the way of resources. So you could also start a project. You can create an event, and that event, of course, you would be able to promote throughout the system. So it's another great marketing outlet. And you could also create a group. So these are all the main functions that you can perform in Hilo. So I will say that, just like all other technology, it's really simple for some and very difficult for others, depending on how much you like technology. And so what we have done is we have created, this is Yasmin's role, is to really help facilitate the community building on Hilo. So she has 3 calls per month. So one of the calls will be a welcome experience. Folks who are new to Hilo, who have lots of questions, who want to see who else is joining, what they're doing, all of that. The ripple effect is for those who are now in there and they want to meet others, and they want to actually start exchanging and collaborating. So people with asks and offers and resources are all going to be on that call, so that really that will be facilitated by the Holomovement. And then the third call is actually offered by the Hilo team, not the Holomovement team. And they are talking about the functionality in Hilo and what's coming next, because they're developing it continually. So if they feel like we all want to see a way to do this, or a way to do this, or we want a button here, or we want it to be able to give badges and tokens, or then they listen and then they actually create that functionality. So that's what that call is all about. And also to kind of cross-pollinate between the network. So between Holomovement and Pro-Social or Holomovement and some of the other networks. So the third option is by enrolling in one of the Holomovement programs, which at the moment, there are two. One is the monthly Holo Holders Prayer Circle. And if you are interested in, it's a very, it's the sacred component, right? So it's really holding.
I'm in that one.
Yes. Well, Deborah, why don't you tell us a little bit about Holo Holders Prayer Circle?
Well, it's a beautiful experience because it's led by the Holomovement Keeper of the Flame, whom you share with the evolutionary leader. She's our Keeper of the Flame as well, the magnificent Reverend Paulette Pipe. And it's only a half an hour call. So it's very simple to come on the call and be with like-hearted people and just rest in the silence of our shared intention. So I invite you all to join us.
Thanks, Deborah. It really, really is beautifully led by our dear Paulette. Okay, and the Purpose Lab, which you've all just heard about. So those are two examples of programs that we're offering. But honestly, this is going to multiply in a big way because I sense that there is so many of you out there, just as there were so many at the Wave, that have programs that potentially the Holomovement can incorporate. So that you all can offer them to anybody that's part of the Holomovement. So we're looking forward to seeing what those programs, see those possible programs roll in. Okay, and last but never least, it's to become a partner. So everybody can exchange offerings and collaborate and, on high-low with each other. And, everybody's free to do that. But if any of you all are interested in becoming a partner and sort of co-creating something like a Purpose Lab or like a service, for example, that will maybe be built into the Holomovement network and be available to all Holons, then we invite everybody to submit their idea. So at the moment, we have invited all those who participated in the Holomovement Wave to submit a co-creative partnership proposal. And you could see that there's some criteria there. We want to make sure that any program that is proposed is immediately actionable, is resourced to some degree, is made better, of course, by collaboration, and truly benefits the whole. And, this is not an application for funding, but I know that we are really working on possibilities of collective finance and new models of monetization. So if there is something you have in mind with some possibly unique forms of funding, that might be something we would, really look at with you.
I have a question, Danette. Does that also include events? Because I know you've already partnered with the Illuminate Film Festival, with the Sedona Yoga Festival, with maybe the Pioneers. Is this also the way to propose that?
Yes, absolutely. If there is an event where you're seeing some co-creation possibilities. So again,
I see. Yeah,
I know that that kind of we had quite a strong focus on events just out the gate, which was sort of a way to increase our awareness of the Holomovement in various different communities. And many of those were funded sponsorships. And I know that we are, for the most part, moving on from funded event sponsorships into more co-creative partnerships. So, where it's not just necessarily here, we're going to fund something and you guys are going to get the word out. So moving into a more of a co-creative collaboration.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds very exciting.
Yeah. Okay. So if you would like to access, all of these forms, and of course you want to jump into Hilo, go to that URL at the bottom here, which is holomovement.net/community. And maybe Scott, you would want to surf our way there, so that generally folks can see where to access all of this.
Yeah,
And
well,
one last thing. Oh, yeah.
I was just saying, Rev Deb and I will do some surfing of the whole movement.net at the end of the show.
Okay, great. So yeah, the community page is where everybody gets to find all of this. So you can surf your way to that as well. But before I end here, I wanted to just welcome everybody to navigate over to the Holomovement social media, because we will constantly be posting opportunities there, and or events, or really thought-provoking articles, or webinars. We will be posting some Holon stories. So we are going to be harvesting some of the great work that Holons are doing in Hilo, and we're going to be posting it out and giving those projects a megaphone. So we've got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course the website. So those are all places where you can stay updated.
Danette, you are amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. I try not to overuse that word, but really, I'm so inspired by the quality of your work and your contribution to the team, and how much information you have brought together in a very clear way. It's just it's quite remarkable. Is this how long did it take you to gather all of these? I mean, is this a year's worth of work, or did you whip this up for the event in the last 3 weeks? Or how? Tell us a little bit about just you and how you manifested this.
Well, the presentation and the forms, the documents, that that was probably just completed maybe in about 10 days before the event. But I would say that all of the work that we've done over the past year, just to really synthesize how the Holo movement is going to grow and how the Holo movement is going to expand. The big word is how, because I think everybody off the bat kind of knows what, right? Okay, and all of us want to unite for a better world, right? So the what is very easy, like understanding our unity, understanding our oneness, right? Understanding our interconnectedness, right? That's something our community really is already on board with. And so the big question is, well, then how? So how is the Holo movement going to do it? So that has emerged, and will still continue to emerge, to be honest, but it has emerged over the last year. And the idea that we will definitely have partnerships, the idea that we will definitely have Holons, that we also need to be able to have an option for those who are not interested in a tech platform. And of course, then how to then make available and accessible all of the great programs that are kind of coming and weaving through. So it just became evident that we needed multiple on-ramps, and that once people really understand what the Holo movement is all about, they will go do it on their own. I mean, when I say on their own, they'll just go do it. And sure, they might plug in here, or plug in here, or plug into this other group, or plug into but a movement is something that grows, and you don't sometimes, and you don't always know where it grows to and how many people are a part of it. It's just that people self-identify and they go do good things in the world.
Yes.
So we needed to make sure that we had avenues for everybody to do just that.
I love that, the multiple on-ramps. Because I also, when I think big about the Holomovement, I think about the Girl Scouts of America joining, and even like local governments joining, and people understanding that joining the Holomovement doesn't mean that you're under the Holomovement. It's just a way of connecting the dots of all of the beautiful initiatives to make this world a better, healthier place for all who live on the planet. So bravo, Danette, you're doing a phenomenal job. You and the team are just really putting forth so many beautiful ideas in such a comprehensive way. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the future about all these opportunities to be part of the Holomovement.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah. Your support of the Holomovement has been truly, truly incredible, and has boosted this effort up in ways you cannot imagine. And Scott, thank you for always holding space for, you know, all of the community efforts that are emerging, right, to create this whole world. And you've just been a major connector in all of this. So we welcome.
Thank you for the education. I learned so much just now because I kind of been, you know, fumbling around trying to figure it out. So now I know. So, you know, thank you, Danette. You're a gem, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in Sedona soon.
Wonderful. Thank you both.